Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jason Brayford, and I am the program lead for the Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices National REthink Council. We're excited and grateful that you can join us for this first broadcast of REthink Live. We've got a great session planned for you today, but first, before we get started, I would like to introduce someone who is very special and potentially the biggest fan of REthink on the planet, hands down, Christy Bugnick. Christy, welcome.
Thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate that. And I am a huge fan of the REthink Council. Hello to everybody that's taken the time out of their day to join us for this inaugural REthink Live. I am so excited to hear all of the forward-thinking ideas from our REthink Council. You should have heard the lead up to us going live. They were just going nuts. And all of that information, all of that tactical advice is going to help us grow in our business and stretch in areas where we may not be comfortable. That's where the growth comes. So to me, it's why the programs like REthink Council are so important. It's where we create a platform for collaboration among our peers. It's a channel for dialogue with leadership. And most importantly, it's to give a voice to our next gen agents. That is so vital. And this group truly helps us keep, and when I say us, I mean the leadership team at HSF, a finger on the pulse of what's important to our younger agents and their clients. So extremely, extremely important. With that, I want to thank the REthink Council members for their passion, their commitment to the network. You all put in a lot of time on this, and I just want you to know you're appreciated. I know that your efforts are going to help all of you achieve new heights. And I also hope that your time on the council helps you to create a network outside of your own brokerage. That's really important. And it helps you grow your business beyond your wildest dreams. Get it? Taylor Swift, come on, give me something. So I can't wait to host our awesome REthink Council at my home in May. And I just want to say cheers to everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do. And sit back, take lots of notes, everyone, because you're going to learn a lot on today's call. Jason, take it away.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much, Christy, for taking the time to be with us today and for your inspiring words. Now, for those of you who are not sure what a mastermind is, it's a gathering of similar production agents with the goal of identifying and sharing best business practices. Facilitating our mastermind, our REthink field advisors today are Vince Lacey, CEO of Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Ambassador Real Estate in Omaha, Nebraska, and Vic Quiros, Managing Partner with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices California Properties, located in Los Angeles, California. So without further ado, I welcome Vince and Vic and hand the broadcast over to you, Vince.
Thank you, Jason. Christy, glad to have you here and kicking us off. We appreciate your support always. Vic and I are extremely excited to have our REthink Council members do this first REthink Mastermind Live here with you guys. And so I hope that everybody learns something. You get some great takeaways from this. We're going to have three subject matters. I'll be covering mindset and motivation in our first question. I'll also be covering later buyer's value proposition. So often we talk about seller values that we're giving them. We need to focus on buyers and what's the value that we're doing to differentiate ourselves there. And then Vic's going to talk about AI. We know AI the last year has been something that just busted on the market and something we need to understand. How do we use that in our business to do things? Because of the time and the number of people we have on here today, we're really not going to allow the audience to ask questions because we think we're going to have enough robust subject matter here that we're going to ask you to hold back on the questions. If you want to put things in the chat, that's good, and maybe we can look at those and answer some of those as we're doing that. But without further ado, what I'd like to do is have each one of our council members please introduce themselves, the market that they service, and we're excited to have you. So with that, Alexandra, if you could start us off, please.
Hey everyone, I'm Alexandra French with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Georgia Properties, located in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi everyone, I'm Jake Garay from Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Hudson Valley Properties here in Hudson Valley, New York.
We are Joan Letty Torres with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Central Washington Real Estate, and we serve the Tri-Cities, Washington area.
Hi everyone, Maxwell Stevens here with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Pocono Real Estate, and I'm in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Hello, everyone. Natalie Sanchez from Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana, with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices at Real Estate.
Hi there, I'm Nicole Toronto with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Montana Properties.
My name is Noah Escobar. I'm with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Beach Properties of Florida, in Northwest Florida, specifically the 30-acre market.
Hi there, Olivia Salyer here from Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, RW Town Realty, and I serve from Richmond, Virginia to Virginia Beach.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stina Taylor from Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Indiana Realty, with my marketplace being Indianapolis. Welcome.
Hi, I am Sarah Roberts with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Jacqueline Real Estate, and I serve the Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and Spokane, Washington markets.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Rothstein with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Florida Network Realty, and I service Jacksonville, Florida.
Hey, everybody. Nico Marasco with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Ambassador Real Estate in Omaha, Nebraska.
Hello, everybody. Julie Colleen with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Select Properties in St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, everyone. Marie Boatsman with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Northwest Real Estate in Portland, Oregon.
Hi there, I'm Chelsea Link with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices Midwest Realty in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
That is our council members. So with that, we're going to dive into our first subject matter, which is mindset and motivation. And I would tell you, I think this is really an important subject matter. As we went through COVID here over the last couple of years, we are seeing study after study showing that 50+% of Americans suffer from depression, anxiety, and other things. So to be productive, happy, and move forward in life, you know, you've got to figure out what is the mindset I need? How do I become positive? And what are those things I need to do so I don't have that depression, anxiety? And when I start getting in a dump, how do I get out of those things? So with it, I'm going to dive in and have Maxwell kind of start us off. You know, Maxwell, what are you doing to make sure that you have the right mindset, that you have that positive attitude? And when things go wrong, how do you make sure you don't get in a funk?
Thanks, Vince. So really, like, my number one priority is radical self-care. One of my all-time favorites, the GOAT, Gino Blafari, has affirmed this every single time I've heard him speak. He always says, work harder on yourself than you do your own business. And so I realized that as long as I'm taking care of myself, I know that my real estate practice and all around life is going to thrive. So I can feel good no matter what's going on around me, whether it's a slow market or if I'm crazy busy. This allows me to always be in abundant thinking, even so if I'm slow, abundant thinking, and handle things really peacefully and gracefully. So the main thing for me is I need to make sure I'm eating right, sleeping, and moving my body in some kind of way. And then I wrote down a couple things that you guys can do listening right this minute that change the trajectory of how I look at just life and staying positive. So number one is vision boarding. Right when I open my eyes, I go right to my vision board on my phone. And it's called the My Vision app. It's very cool. I actually created for this event my own Forever Agent affirmations. So if anybody wants them, I can email them over to you. So vision boarding is really important to me. Gets my mindset right from the beginning of the day. Then a gratitude list. What am I grateful for today? This is detrimental for me because gratitude and self-pity can't live simultaneously. So I try to do at least 3 things I'm grateful for every single day. And then meditation. I'm really bad at this, but I use the Calm app and it's free. And there's an extended breathwork series. I do it in my car, 5 minutes to 10 minutes. I do it in my car so nobody bothers me. And it shifts my whole day. This is usually when I'm feeling really overwhelmed. And then number 4, and the last thing I think is top of the list is helping others. Who did I help today? Was it a friend, a client, a family member? I'm always looking for opportunities to contribute. So out of all of this, I don't do this perfectly, but if I can check off all or most of the boxes, I know I'm on the right track. So I hope this helps everyone listening.
Maxwell, I love it. I just got out of another mastermind group internally within our office where we had 15 agents all doing dream boards. And I will tell you, there is scientific proof behind that, where you have a dream board or a vision board, put it in a place you can see it daily, and you're going to be more tempted and driven to do the things you need to do to accomplish those goals that you have, to do the things that you want, you know, with your family and friends and stuff like that. So it helps you have that work-life balance and understand what's really important to you. So I'm so happy that you brought that up. Jake, could you kind of talk about same thing, mindset, motivation?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Vince. So for me, I want to echo kind of what Maxwell said to begin and say that I agree. A lot of agents in this business, we focus on investing in our business and marketing and everything else, when in really the best return on your investment is on yourself. So by improving your skill set, improving your mindset, I've always found that motivation and the people who are the most motivated are also the most skilled. They have that motivation because they know they can go out and achieve their goals. They know they can go out and get business. And I know, you know, a lot of people, you hear it all over the industry about the markets changing. There's a lot of things that are kind of adapting and changing over the last 12 to 24 months. But what I have found is the top performers don't focus on the market. They don't focus on what they can't control. They focus on what they can control. And that's their own personal activity. So, you know, what we do as a team, there's a couple of different things that I think you can actually go out and do today and implement in your business. And the first thing is practice. You know, in salespeople, we're always in the quote unquote game, to use a sports analogy, right? You're meeting with prospects, you're meeting with clients, but you're never practicing your skills. And so the best thing that you can do is practice and hone your skills before you get into that environment where you are meeting with those people. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you the preparation up front. So that way you have that confidence going into that appointment that you know you're ready, you know you're prepared, you're going to earn that client's business. You know, as a team, what we do every single week is we have weekly accountability meetings. We come together, we meet with each other, we make sure that we're talking about what our goals are. We're putting ourselves in an environment where we all have common goals and we're striving towards the same exact thing. And if we're falling off, if we're not following and doing what we're saying we're going to do, we're calling each other out. We're saying, hey, last week you said you were going to, you know, call 5, you know, past clients and follow up with them. Where did you fall off? Let's get back on, you know, and make sure that we do that this week. Now, if you're not on a team and you don't have that person, you need to seek out an accountability partner, someone that you can meet with and be consistent. Put it in your calendar. Have it every single week. It can't be something that you do once a quarter or once a month. It's got to be weekly. That way you're holding yourself accountable and you know what's going on in your business. So those are just a couple of the things that I think that you can do to be prepared for those appointments, but also keep yourself in an environment where you're staying motivated.
Jake, I love that, because when we talk about mindset and being positive, you know, one is it's who you hang around with, right? You read in books and the 5 people you hang around with, hang around positive people, hang around people that are going to make you better. Mm-hmm. And be prepared. That is so important in this process, right? You're gonna be more positive, more productive when you're prepared. I love Les Brown's quote: "It's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be prepared." Right?
Couldn't agree more.
Chelsea, could you talk about the same subject, mindset, positive?
Yeah. So I think one thing for me that really helps me in terms of motivation, is to try to follow a routine. Because I think in real estate, it's really easy for us to be, you know, here, there, and everywhere. When you do these small habits in everyday life, you just automatically get a little bit better every day. Like that, you know, the book Atomic Habits talks about. I love that book. And so same in real estate. I think there's so many scenarios where we've all experienced it. When one thing goes wrong, everything seems to go wrong at once. But if you remain consistent and follow just good habits, you're bound to have wins. So even if you have a day where you feel like it's full of losses and trials and tribulations, if you just follow the consistent habits of doing those little pieces every day, you're bound to break through that at some point. I think we just tend to jump around a little too much and try this and then try that and never really hone in on perfecting anything. So when I do the same things, I really feel like that helps me stay motivated, because you see more of those little daily wins that kind of keep you going. The other thing that I admittedly myself struggle with, but I'm going to give the advice to you guys anyway, is don't compare yourself to other agents. I I think it's inevitable that it's always the day that you're having a bad day in real estate, or your deal fell through, or you're frustrated with something, that's when you see another agent post on social media that they just closed $1 million deal, and isn't real estate great all the time? And, it's just, it's just never fails that that's the way it goes. And so I think we all just need to remember we're in the same boat. We have the same struggles. Social media is definitely just a highlight reel for everyone. So, I think it's something we should honestly talk more about with each other too. I think it would help attitudes and mindset, and knowing we're all in it together.
Let me ask you a question. We talked a little bit earlier about dream boards and accountability. Do you have a tip for everybody as what helps you create those good habits? Because habits don't happen in a day or a week or even a month. I think it's probably 3 months. Anything that you could give advice to how you created some of those good habits?
Yeah, I mean, some days it's just forcing yourself, honestly. I mean, there's plenty of days where I think I just have to tell myself, okay, this is what you're doing, because I try to do a little bit of time blocking on my calendar. Obviously that can get a little off kilter because you never know what's going to pop up. But I feel like when I do plan out my day, it helps me stick to it more. And sometimes it's just little pep talks. I even started, I printed out a couple quotes to like put on my bathroom mirror, just to get you in that right mindset for the day. So just those little things.
Thank you very much. Noah, can you expand on the subject for us, please?
Yeah, I love that. Chelsea, I'm glad that you brought up the idea of perfection. Because I always tell myself the same quote. I don't have a vision board. I need to do all this stuff. And that's my favorite part about being on REthink Council is like, I look at you guys as the standard, right? And I'm 23, so anything I can do to kind of hear these tips, this is awesome. So I always say the quote, like, we do not strive for perfection, we strive for connection. And then as soon as I say that to myself, like, I was telling my girlfriend, like, last week, I wanted to quit. I was like, hey, I'm 23, let's run, let's find something else, let's do something else. And it's because I was comparing myself to other people, right? And it's one of those things, we're human, we all fall in the trap. But if you look at it from a perspective of, okay, I'm not going for perfection, I'm going for connection. And the core of my business is video production. So it's one of those things where if I can look at my video and I post it on YouTube, there's 10,000 things I wish I did differently or would change. And so to kind of remain positive in a changing market like this, where, last year you had the best year ever and this year is not as good or half as good. It's, at the end of the day, every goal that I have is to connect with somebody new. Because I always think like, okay, I can control a little bit how I look, how I talk, how I present myself. But there's things about myself that I can't change. But it's like, if that's the reason holding me back through video and I don't create the content that somebody needs to hear or value or information that someone needs to hear in order to do that next step in their lives, that's what being a forever agent is about. You can't start being a forever agent unless you jump into just connecting with people. Because I know I can look in this room and there's like Jake's video production, right? There's so many things that he does better than me. And instead of me looking at it, it's like, Jake is a perfect guy. He's got cool hair. He's always talks cooler than me. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, I get to have the opportunity now within our network to connect with Jake, right? I got to hop on a call with Jake for last week for 30 minutes. And I learned more about myself and about Jake and how I can progress more than thinking, okay, Jake's perfect. I can't do that. I can't do this. But that's really how I remain positive. I mean, it's one of those days, it's a daily battle. But I think if you stay with that, we're not striving for perfection because, if we were perfect, we wouldn't see any of the good around us, right? And so it's hard to connect with somebody if you're like, woe is me. And so I look at myself, like, that's why I love what Maxwell said, like having that list of things or journaling and going through your gratitude list. Because, we're not trying to be perfect. I'm not a perfect person, but I want to connect with everybody that's possible.
Perfect. We've got a couple more minutes on this subject matter. Olivia, Nico, Sarah, anything you guys could add to that?
Yeah, hearing Chelsea and both Noah speak really sparked to mind. It's not about how many times you fail. It's about how many times you get up. And I think a lot of times it's very difficult to be in this industry and have hard days because everybody is posting just their wins on social media. You don't see the real stuff behind the scenes. And so if you keep telling yourself that, we all have difficult days, and it's really an exercise in endurance, honestly. Just keep moving forward and you will continue to find those wins.
I think one thing too that's really big that everyone kind of touched on, but is morning routine. I mean, I went away from that last year, have gotten back to that this year, and I've already noticed such a difference in every aspect, personal, business. if you have not read the 5 a.m. Club book, I highly recommend that. I also am happy to share these things, but I bought a habit tracker from Amazon for like $12 that you change monthly, and I use that for personal goals. I have a habit tracker for work activities that I use on a daily basis that tracks everything from literally how many social media stories my goal is a day to how many new people I've talked to, listing appointments, buyer appointments. I mean, it's really detailed, and I did that in 2020 consistently. It was the best year for business personal I've ever had. So I got back to doing that again this year. But again, 5 a.m. Club, amazing book. And I think it's just really insightful to spending that first hour of your day or whatever works for you, but in gratitude, in creative work, and then of course, working out. I think, you know, doing something active and physical, we all need for our mindset. So it's a great book.
Nico, anything you could add to wrap us up on the subject matter?
Yeah, I mean, those are a lot of great topics. I guess the couple things that I do to help keep a good positive mindset, I'm a big numbers guy, so I always like having my numbers in front of me. So we break down like our monthly goals. They're on our desk. So I see them every day. Every year, first day of the year, I write myself a check and I tape it on my bathroom mirror. So I see my annual income, what I want it to be. So I look at that every single morning when I get up and I'm getting ready. And, you know, like for me, motivation really comes from just, I know you don't really necessarily like this answer, but having big bills. I mean, because then you kind of put yourself in a position where you don't have the option to, you know, slack off or not, and not necessarily buying frivolous things, but just constantly taking, you know, funds and investing them in other businesses and other opportunities. So you just got to keep the machine going, and there's only one person that's going to do it, and it's you. So you got to figure it the hell out.
Nico's in my office. I know Nico well. I know Nico's dad, and his broker always told him, go buy a new car, go buy a bigger house that you can't afford, and it's going to force you to be motivated to work hard. So
Exactly.
not positive, it's always advice I would give to everybody, but it does work for some. I love these young kids. So guys, thank you so very much for that. I wish we had more time because there's a lot of information I think we could expand upon and even take another level. But with that, Vic, I'm going to hand that over to you, and let's dive into AI.
All right. Thanks, Vince. And thanks for all those good statements there and mindset routines. I'm really excited about this mastermind group because a lot of times the only people who get to hear this chat, right, the back and forth, is us in the room with the REthink Council. So having, you know, hundreds of people on live right now, it's fantastic. And we want to talk a little bit about AI. So let's talk about where tech is right now. So going back 75 years, we had these, you know, military grade computers, right? Then we had, you know, personal computers. I know some of you guys are not old enough to remember MS-DOS, right? But that's in the 80s, right? So fast forward, we now have internet, right? In the 90s, and then we jumped to smartphones in the early 2000s, and then now, you know, we have the Internet of Things where your refrigerator can tell you how cold it is outside or read your text messages off. But the biggest thing to hit us, not just in the real estate industry, but in tech overall, is artificial intelligence. Okay. So what I want to talk about for a moment, understanding that ChatGPT is less than 2 years old. Joe and Letty, what are you guys doing right now in your business to integrate artificial intelligence? And are you using it for, you know, maybe customer automation, lead generation, marketing, or some other transaction tasks that you might be able to incorporate into your business?
So we love talking about AI because we've been utilizing it really for the past year or so, like really, really heavily. AI can be used in so many different ways to supercharge your business and make it more efficient. We specifically have been diving into ChatGPT, and some of the ways that we've been using it is getting ideas for social media content, assisting with listing descriptions, even managing our goals and our workflow. We also occasionally use it for communications via email or text. If we're having a hard time putting something together, maybe we need to be a little softer in the messaging, we'll get some ideas from ChatGPT. We also use it to help, to get some help creating scripts, for example, for calling FSBOs or withdrawals or expired listings. This year, we started using it to help us with personal development even. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but asking it things like getting suggestions on how to strengthen our skills in certain areas, or even what books we should be reading in order to educate ourselves in certain areas. And last but not least, we recently started using it for document management as well.
Yeah, so using ChatGPT, to make it work for you, you have to be very clear for the prompts that you're going to give it. They're very important. You want to be as specific as you can. You want to use punctuation, separate your thoughts. And
Hey, Joe, some of the people out there may not know what prompts are. Could you give them an explanation briefly of what an AI prompt would be?
An AI prompt, you want to give an example?
Yeah, so a prompt is basically telling ChatGPT what you're trying to get out of it. So some examples would be if I needed some help writing a listing description, I could say something like, write a captivating listing description for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in blank neighborhood near blank school, and it has blank features. That's just one example. Maybe I need help writing a carousel post for Instagram. I could say something like, write a 5-page carousel post for Instagram. The topic is blank. Create a call to action for home buyers specifically, and create a sense of urgency. So those are just 2 examples.
Yeah. And so when you do that, a lot of times, if you're not very clear, the results aren't going to be what you want. So if you find a prompt that works well for you, you want to save that. I personally have a file saved, a prompt that I've worked in the past that I'll use and just tweak it. And another way we use AI is for document management. So with ChatGPT, there's a paid version where you can create your own customized GPTs, and created one that can house all the contract documents that we use. And so when I'm having a hard time finding a particular document, I can go in and give it a prompt to help me find the document that I'm looking for.
And I think AI scares people, but it's very useful. And I want to make it very clear that we're not using it to dictate how we're running our business or how we're behaving or anything like that. It's more about helping to initiate ideas, and then we take it from there. You make it your own.
Love that, guys. You're having success, obviously. So thank you so much for sharing. I mean, it's good stuff. Nicole, I want to ask you the same question. How are you utilizing AI right now? And is there any other specific systems outside of ChatGPT that you might be utilizing in your real estate business at this point in time?
So for me, I am primarily using ChatGPT, and I am using the free version. I've started looking into a few other things, but that's what I'm most comfortable with right now, and it's what's working for me. And like Joe and Letty said, it's really not meant to replace you. I think last time that I spoke to them, Letty mentioned that it's meant to enhance your value, and that is so much what it's about. So for me, I use the free version. And I think the hardest thing about AI is getting started. It's just like video. Everyone's concerned about how they look on video, and so they just don't push the record button. AI is kind of the same way. Just get in there and start using it, and you'll realize how user-friendly it really is. It can seem overwhelming, but it can help in so many different ways. I use it for listings and marketing mostly, but I think something to know about AI is that it's really meant to be an extension of you and not a replacement. So you cannot just copy and paste. You need to proofread it. You need to reword it, make it your own. So before you even tell it what you want, you can go into ChatGPT and fill out the custom instructions so it knows who you are as an agent. You can get as specific as you want. You can tell it your market, who you are, how you operate, and you can also tell it who your ideal client is. So if you're always keeping that ideal client in mind when you ask it things, so then you don't have to repeat that every single time that you use it. So for social media, I utilize it for my content calendar. I will get my entire year planned out for my content on social media, but I'll also have it include captions and relevant hashtags, engaging hashtags, so that I literally can just look at what day of the year it is, and I know exactly what kind of social posts I should be doing. I know what verbiage I want to use. I know what engaging hashtags I can include. So it really makes it so much easier to actually execute it when you're not trying to figure out what you want to do, because there's so many different things that you can do. It's hard to even know where to start. I also use it for my email campaigns that I send to my sphere every month. It's just easier to, sometimes when you're doing something every single month, it's hard to get creative and say something differently as opposed to getting into the same rhythm. So that's super helpful. Scripts for video, whether it's for listings or just random videos on social media that are different from listings. marketing verbiage based on the marketing piece. So is it postcards? Is it a listing description? Is it social media ads? Who are you targeting and what is your goal? And so it can really just, the possibilities are really endless for it.
Thanks for that, Nicole. I noticed you said that you're using it right now a lot for listings, and I'm wondering, are you using the AI stuff for copy on listings, or are you using it for possibly photo creation, video editing? Are you using it just for copy?
Mostly just for copy. I have used a little bit for video editing. I'm just not super comfortable with it yet, so I haven't found one that I love. But it's mostly just copy. I feel like listing descriptions can get really monotonous because everyone seems to have the same basic listing description. So it's a way to help separate the previous listing descriptions on a property or just from everybody else's to make it a little bit more of a standout piece.
You might be able to say something like, hey, give me 5 listing descriptions completely separate from this property. Like Joe and Letty were talking about their prompts. So you can tell it exactly what to do and make it sound softer, make it sound a little bit more homely, or make it sound more exciting and lively if you're in the downtown area, right?
Right, exactly.
Very cool. Thanks for that, Nicole. I want to move on to Alexandra. Alexandra, you also said that you're using AI in your real estate business right now. And, we've talked a little bit about prompts and copy for listings and marketing materials. What are you doing right now for the integration of artificial intelligence into your real estate business?
So just like everyone else, of course, I'm utilizing ChatGPT. I am currently using the paid version, though. I can save all my prerequisites in there, and then all the data seems to be a little bit more up to date versus the free version. But I'm also using a bunch of apps that I can bring me out to showings. So renovation AI, I can go into a house that doesn't have like a renovated kitchen, and my clients may not necessarily be able to see what that's going to look like. They don't have the vision to be able to just like on the spot, snap a picture of it and be like, okay, this is what this kitchen will look like, with the cabinets painted white or modern or opening up the wall. And all of a sudden they get the sense of, oh, wow, okay, this is not a completely dated 1970s kitchen with wallpaper coming off the cabinets anymore. It's a beautiful modern floor plan that I now can envision and want to be a part of. And so that to me has been such a game changer when working with a lot of buyers right now.
That's great. And the name of that app one more time, Alexandra?
It's Renovation AI.
Renovation AI. That's pretty cool. You guys should download that to your phone and take a look. That's great.
Yeah, it's a really cool app. I mean, you can say you want it modern, you want it country chic, you want it Scandinavian, like whatever style you want to do it in. And then you can get, depending on like which level paid version you use, you can get very granular. Then you can say, okay, renovate the bathroom, but I want you to use a Carrera marble countertop with the white shaker cabinets, and that's what it's going to spit out.
How long does that transition take? When you say to Renovation AI, redo this kitchen, I want green cabinets, I want gold hardware, and I want white and gray marble countertop. How long is the turnaround? Is it in seconds, or is it something they email to you later?
30-ish seconds. So the
That's
more time you put in, the
instant.
longer it takes. But if I was like, just, hey, modernize it, it's going to spit it out 15, 30 seconds.
That's awesome. Awesome. Keep telling us what else you're doing, Alexandra.
So kind of along the same lines, so virtual renovation, virtual staging. Right now, when things are selling a little bit quicker, we could get away without having to physically stage the properties. But no longer are we having to go to Box Brownie and wait, 2-3 business days for them to do it.
Yeah.
I can go ahead and do my virtual staging, and I can have that back within minutes, maybe within an hour or two. And it's
That's great.
Which is really
That's great.
everything up.
Oh, you're bringing the heat. What else are you doing, Alexandra? What else you got going on? Everybody's listening and writing these apps down because everybody's going to download these today and try them.
Captions. A lot of people think about captions just for videos. You can use it for teleprompter, but what's really cool, if you're nervous on video and you don't know what you're necessarily thinking about, and you're reading your script and your eyes are down, you can use it, like it'll take a picture of your eyes, and you can have your eyes looking out at the camera.
Is that okay? So the app captions changes the pixels on people's on the screen for what they see. So you're not looking down, you're looking at them, like eye contact when you're making these videos. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Wow.
And so like captions in itself just has so many different AI features in it. I mean, whether it's from the way that your eyes are looking, or adding in like the teleprompter prompts on it, or the words on the bottom, or adding in the images that a lot of times you'll see on Reels as well. There's just the options are endless on it. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's a whole lot we can do with AI right now, and ChatGPT is the most popular program. But when you really look into AI right now for all aspects, it's not only copy. I mean, these programs can make phone calls for you now, guys. They can create videos, and the way Alexander's talking about captions changing the eyes. I've seen AI videos where it actually changes the pixels on somebody's mouth. So instead of me saying, hey Joe, hey Letty, I can write the same video or record the same video, and it might say, hey Julie, hey Nico, things like that. So a lot of other apps that we're using. And I want to get, speaking of Julie, Sarah, Nico, what are you guys using right now outside of ChatGPT or something for just copy? What are you guys doing with AI in your business?
Yeah, so I actually just used so far ChatGPT, but there's a couple things that I use it for that haven't been talked about. The first is I ended up going to the paid version, and for me, it's been a game changer on the fact that I can just upload docs into it and it will read them. For example, if you are dealing with an estate, and I can upload the estate docs into ChatGPT and just prompt in who are the parties to the contract if we sell this home, and it will just spit it all out to me of who I need to be talking to. Another one is subdivision restrictions. I can upload subdivision restrictions into it and ask it, what are the fencing restrictions? Are there any rental restrictions? And it'll just spit it right back out to me. And the last one,
when you say subdivision restrictions, I think in a lot of other places they're called HOA restrictions,
HOAs,
right?
yes.
So you're uploading the HOA CC&Rs to the system, and you're asking it very specifically, find all the things I might get a fine for or a penalty for.
Sure, absolutely.
That's
absolutely. Awesome. And if it's not the original PDF, there's added plugins that you can use to actually read the PDF to make it readable, and then it'll transcribe it for you. The last and most recent one that I have played with is taking KCM graphs and plugging a very specific graph into it. And my prompt will usually be something like, use this graph to write a video script, focusing in on the importance of, let's say it's about rates, focusing in on the importance of not waiting for rates to drop because there will be more buyer demand. And it will just spit out a whole script for me relating to the numbers on the graph and all of that.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's some heavy tech stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Julie.
Great idea, Julie.
Sarah, do you have any input on this? Sarah and Nico, any input on AI for your business?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm using ChatGPT also a lot. And one of the ways I'm just kind of using it as my friend and to make my life easier, kind of as a virtual assistant. I had a buyer, I'm in Northeast Florida, so we have a very large region that we cover. And I had a buyer from California reach out to me one day asking, telling me that she wanted to be in gated communities, and she knew nothing of Northeast Florida. But she wanted me to send her information on communities that offered a lot of amenities like pickleball and tennis and golf. And she wanted a gated community with an active lifestyle. So I went to ChatGPT. I was really busy and I didn't have a lot of time to spend on this. So I went to ChatGPT and I typed in, I just told it, I said, give me a list of all the gated communities that have amenities in Northeast Florida. And I specifically put a few different areas. And I said, give me 5 different options in each area. And so it spit out a nice, thorough list and the detailed information about what each community offered. And then I also told it, said, now give me the website for the community with each one. So I copied and pasted it and sent it to my this new client, and she was just amazed. And I did this in about 10 minutes. Put this all together and made myself look like the expert. So I'm using it in a lot of different ways, just telling it what I need, and it gives me a lot of feedback and makes my life a lot easier.
That's good stuff too. Man, you sound like a superhero there. Now I want to ask anybody else from their National Rethink Council. We talked about, Chat GPT. Some people are typing in the chat box about Bard and other things from other companies. There's a lot of great AI systems and tools out there. Just real quick, rapid fire before we move on to the next topic. From anybody from the National Rethink Council, is there an AI app that you'd recommend our viewers to download and play with right now? Give us your top apps. Open to anybody on the National Rethink Council.
So if anybody does a lot of video production, there's a website. It's alright.ai. And what it will do is it will take your videos and turn them into blog posts. So if you do a lot of video, my business, similar to Noah's, is heavy on video production. Great to take those videos, transcribe them, but not just transcribe them, but actually then take it, format it into an actual well-written blog. That's great for website, great for SEO, and that type of stuff.
Oh, that's great, Jake. Yeah, and you're heavy on video, so you're doing the video first, and this allowing you to save the time, just translating it, transcribing it, and putting it out there. And then you send that out, maybe your blog post, or maybe an e-card through Resource Center or something like that, right?
Exactly.
That's great. Is anybody else
I also
superb apps? Yes. Hi,
Okay,
Natalie.
and I also would like to share that ChatGPT would translate to Spanish if there are some agents that speak Spanish in our industry and don't know this. Sometimes we get this big home inspection or paperwork that we would like to explain to our clients, and it does a perfect translation.
Well, that's great. That's great. I know that that might even help some people dealing with some bilingual clients. If they don't understand all the contract, maybe you kind of take Julie's idea, run the contract through chat, have it translated to their language, and maybe explain it to them a little bit clearer, if that makes sense. All right. Thanks for that. A lot of good info. We're going to move on to the next question, Vince. We're going to be talking about the buyer value proposition, right?
We are. I found over the years, all of us in the real estate business have seller propositions, right? We have seller. Here's our value to the seller, how we make this an easy, simple, stress-free transaction to get you a better price, to prep your house, to attract interest and activity. But so often, and we've been going through this in all of our masterminds here internally within our organizations, tons of agents don't have buyer value propositions. And what are you doing to differentiate yourself with buyers? It can't be, I'm going to open a house and write a contract. If that's your only value as a buyer, that's not enough in the world we live in anymore. So I really want to dive into that and help each one of us take a look at ourselves and figure out what are we doing that adds value to them, right? Why would they want to use us? Why would they want to use us other than somebody else? And start creating marketing pieces and having proposals for our buyers, just as we do for our sellers. With that, Natalie, I'm going to start with you and ask, what do you do? What is the message that you communicate to people that shows value, that differentiates you from other people? And why would a buyer want to work with you?
Thank you, Vince. I have 4 important words that I use and implement in my real estate career to show and communicate my value to buyers. The first one is empathy. The second one is expertise. Third one is authenticity. And the fourth one, and my favorite, is appreciation. The first thing that I do when I encounter a buyer is do one-on-one consultation to make sure I understand their needs and what the process is going to take for us to achieve their goals. Once I find out whether they're buying cash, using a mortgage company, or simply looking to purchase property as an investment, I share my personal experience. We need to make sure that if we have been through the process, that we share our experience with our buyers so that they understand we did not just pass the test or keep preparing ourselves every day and learning, but also know what the process is going to take to get them where they need to be. How would you feel if you go to a dentist and the first thing that he says, hey, I got my license, I went to school for so many years, but I had never done a procedure? You will be a little scared. You will be like, have you not practiced this? And that's what I bring to my buyers. I'll make sure my personal experience through different process of real estate. Expertise. Realtors, we are the experts. We should be prepared. We should do our homework. We should do a thorough investigation on what the process is going to take so that we be prepared with different list of vendors, home inspectors, lenders in the area, pool inspectors, all these that we know we're going to need during our process. Authenticity. For many days when I started real estate, one of my biggest, I didn't feel very confident because everybody knows that English is not my first language. But in one of the BHHS conference, Jimmy Burgess told me, be authentic always. Your clients are not going to choose you because you speak another language or because English wasn't your first language, but because you are authentic to them. So I advise you, be authentic always. Finally, appreciation. During the year, I have created several programs and several events where I show my appreciation for my buyers and every client. One of my favorites, and I'm going to share with you today, is the one that I direct to women. I partnered up with well-known professionals in my area so that we can address certain topics such as mental health, spiritual health, and physical health in women. Why did I choose women? Because let's be realistic. According to NAR, 59% of home purchase comes from couples. 29% comes from single, and out of that 29%, 17% comes from women. So let's be realistic. Just like the old saying says, happy wife, happy life. And that, Vince, is how I show and communicate my value to my buyers.
Thank you so very much. Olivia, could you extend on that, and what do you do?
Absolutely. Thanks, Vince. So just like Natalie said, the very first thing I do is try to meet with any buyer lead as soon as possible. You want to develop your relationship with them. And if you can, in person, if not, FaceTime, and then third, a phone call followed up by an email. And I do that because I literally make it simple for them to understand what I'm going to do for them, because I bring a list. I have a list of over 100 things that I do as a buyer's agent that makes it incredibly detailed what I do behind the scenes, because a lot of times buyers, especially first-time home buyers or maybe buyers who haven't done this in 20 years, don't know what's going on anymore. And it's your job to communicate that to them. And so by bringing that list with me to that initial meeting, that buyer consult that I like to do, we can talk about it. And I generally choose 2 or 3 things from it to give examples from. And let's be honest, we all want good deals, but that is not really what happens most often. So when you have examples from your terrible deals that you can go through and say, hey, this one time, the appraisal came in 100,000 low, or XYZ happened, you can then give them real-time examples, then be a little humorous with it, that then show them, you, 1, know what you're doing, and 2, have all of the skill set they need to navigate these crazy transactions these days. And I'd be happy to send that list. So definitely be watching for that later. I know we're going to send some materials through after the call. But yeah, I will share that list with all of you for sure.
Thank you very much. Marie, can you expand upon that?
Yes, thank you, Ben. So I completely agree with that. I am huge with buyer consultations as well. I think it just sets the tone for the whole transaction time you're working with them, helps build rapport up front. I also use that time to really set expectations with them. I have a kind of what to expect throughout the process and what I'm here to help you with form, kind of like Olivia, it sounds like, that I go through with them and touch on all the main points of the transaction. But, I also really try to hone in on kind of what's going on in the local market, kind of try to storytell a little bit around that. Every market is so different. And I think a lot of buyers are probably hearing more national news than what we probably think. So I think just educating them on the local market is really important. This normally draws out any myths that they have, maybe concerns, and also just creates really good talking points for this first meeting. And it helps me to be able to show them local knowledge as well. And I think local knowledge is a huge value proposition for buyers. Being well connected in your community with community members, with business owners. I think we miss the boat on that a lot. I think for a lot of buyers, especially those moving into a different city, town, state, they're looking for connections. They're looking for someone that can, advise them on, I know I have to be careful, but, schools and parks and local businesses and activities. And so, if you're kind of that local knowledge broker, you can dig out their passions, what they're looking for, maybe connect them with people in your sphere that you think, one, they'd be friends with, two, would have a good connection with, maybe local business owners that, they could benefit from, So I think, we're in a relationship business. I love connecting people. And I think a lot of us maybe missed the boat on that we could be doing this more with our buyers. And I think for a buyer to look at us and think, okay, they know about restaurants, they know about local hotspots, they know these people, I think they want that from us. So just helping build relationships, giving local knowledge. And, if you don't have that local knowledge, connect them to somebody that does.
That's so important, right? Because we don't know what's important to them. I love that you're talking about, we need to get face to face with them just as we would with a seller. I also like that you bring up setting expectations, not just expectations of what they should expect from you, but you've got first-time home buyers and the average consumer's moving every 13 years now. They don't even remember what the transaction was like. I think it's important for us to also set expectations of maybe what we expect from them. And the better you communicate those expectations, here's the things that I'm going to do, my duties and responsibilities, I think that the easier and smoother transaction you're going to have throughout that whole process. So thank you. Jake, Sina, anyone else, you want to jump in on this subject and tell us what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I think I try to change kind of the perception or define the relationship with the buyer up front. I mean, I agree 100% with everything everyone said so far. What I look at is being with my clients, with my buyer clients, and telling them we're not salespeople. I'm here to be your advisor, similar to an attorney or an accountant. That's how I want you to look at, our relationship. So if you buy a home, I want to be involved in, prepping that home for the sale, or going in if you're renting, putting you on that path to home ownership over the next 2 to 3 years. I want to advise you and your family on every real estate related transaction. I've had clients buy homes overseas and call to get my opinion because it's about being that advisor, that trusted person that you reach out to for anything that's real estate related. I also rely heavily on tools. I think creating tools and showing up to that first appointment with as much information, kind of leave behinds that you can. We've built out home buyer guides that take you A through Z throughout the entire process, what to expect. We have community guides and lifestyle guides that give all of that relevant information right there. So if you're looking in 2 or 3 different towns, we have those community guides to give you right there. So you have all of that information. We also do a lot of investor work. So we've actually built out a full suite of investor tools, how you can analyze deals. And we do investor events to bring people together for collaboration. So all of those different things, we're just trying to give as much value as we possibly can and just build that relationship so they do view us as that trusted professional, that trusted advisor.
Jake, I think that's so important because the truth is, as an industry, we got to do a better job of making ourselves look more professional, right? We need to continue to change our image to be more professional, more value added, and we do that. So I think that takes us to that point. Nico, Julie, Sarah, anybody else want to extend upon the subject matter a little bit?
Yeah, kind of going off of what Jake said about building a relationship. I think when I first got into the business, a piece of advice somebody gave me that I found very valuable was, when you're in a real estate transaction, treat the other real estate agent like a client, because more than likely than not, you're going to run into them down the road. And that has been extremely beneficial, especially during the crazy times we had multiple offer situations. When you have a strong relationship with that agent on the other side, 9 times out of 10, your client's going to get that offer. And so that's something that's going to come with, experience and working in the marketplace. But I think that's a very, very, very valuable asset to use. And, it's going to allow you the opportunity to maybe have a little bit more insight of what's going on with the home than others.
Hey guys, I have a question for those. I'm sorry, I was going to ask a question real quick. How many of you guys right now, in regards to buyer value propositions, are having your buyers sign a buyer broker agreement guaranteeing they're going to work with you and not some other agent who they meet in an open house?
Yeah.
And that's going to become, Nick, I think, much more common, right, as we continue to move down this path. And that's why should we have value propositions for buyers just as we do sellers? That's one of the reasons. Why would they sign something if you don't have value? Sienna, could you expand upon this subject?
Yeah, I was just going to say my team, I have a team of 7, and we actually just made our buyer value proposition sheet today. With everything that's going on in our industry, we just wanted to make sure that we had clear outlines for our buyers to see what we're going to provide with expertise and inside knowledge and just contractors and information. And looking at that task, I felt a little overwhelmed just putting it all in words. And we actually put into ChatGPT yesterday, I put buyer agent value proposition, and it came up with a great base that we built off of. So it's just combining those last two topics that we just discussed about with the AI or ChatGPT and then buyer value proposition. And then we created that, and then we will put that in our buyer folders. So all of my agents and I, we have buyer consultations, and it is mandatory that we do that. We get a lot of people relocating to Indianapolis area from other states. And I always stress that different states have different, ways of real estate. And we need to make sure that our buyers understand the ways here in the Indianapolis area, like inspections and no attorneys and stuff like that. But the consultation, we will provide that buyer value proposition sheet now, along with our steps of the process to our clients. And the goal is to be a forever agent. And we did use that term a couple times in our buyer value proposition sheet about being forever agents and everything.
Thank you very much. I saw a question pop up here on the chat. What time should we ask for that agreement? I would say in the early stages, depending on your relationship. If you've got a relationship with someone that's part of your sphere, I would say the first time you go out. If it's someone you met online lead gen or an open house, maybe get to know them a little bit better, but pretty early in the process would be my opinion. We're almost out of time. Anybody have anything to expand upon on this subject matter?
One thing that I really
idea. Go ahead, Noah. Go ahead.
Go on, Vic.
Thanks, man. One of the things I've been really working on is community videos, because at the end of the day, like the clients that I work with my average price point being 2.3, my clients want to maximize their time and enjoy their time on vacation. So I'll give Maria her flowers too. Like, she does a great job of coming up with community ideas and putting videos out there, so that when someone watches it, like in both of our cases, when they watch it, they're like, hey, we already saw your video on this. We don't need to see that. Let's really focus on this. And that led my lead conversion. I think when I started looking at my YouTube videos, it's about 12 days from when I first meet the lead, when the lead comes in, to when they're under contract. And I want that all day. And the community videos have been a great feature. And then the infrastructure updates that I do, in which I focus on 3 or 4 new developments coming, that's what allows me to build trust at the end of the day. So when the buyers call and come to 30A, they're ready to go. And I think that's a great little switch that people can start doing, is adding the video content.
I think we need a whole nother hour on video, but thank you, Noah. And
video is something we need to be embracing. If we're not, that's a subject we will cover in the future. Vic, you had something.
Oh yeah, I was just going to piggyback off of what Sina was saying, how she makes it a mandatory requirement for everybody on her team to do a full buyer consultation, explaining the value. And then Sina, I'm thinking that at the end of that buyer consultation, you're pressing for a signature and a commitment from that buyer. Is that right?
Yes, we have that buyer exclusive agency ready to go there, especially since we just explained how we are providing value to the buyer. So here you go. This is why we're signing this commission agreement or whatever the term is, and getting it signed. Yes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because nowadays with the new landscape, right, we have to treat our buyer presentation very similar to how you would a listing presentation. And not a lot of agents and brokers around the country are used to that yet, but you're going to have to get used to it. So kudos to you.
That buyer consultation is very much in not only them interviewing you, but you interviewing them. I mean, and especially in this market, if they are just unreal expectations, your time is worth more than that. So you can't go and spend time with the buyer without having that initial consultation, because you will waste so much time, and time is money.
Guys, I hate to do this, but we are out of time. I want to thank all of the REthink Council members. I want to thank all the participants. Our next REthink Live is set for June 11th. Please mark your calendars for that. June 11th will be the next time we're going to do this. We're going to bring video. We're going to bring a lot of subject matter to you that hopefully will be relevant to you. It'll help you guys continue to learn and grow and improve in the process. So thank you to every one of you for preparing, taking time to share valuable information. I love the sharing of apps that people can go look at to expand their business, to grow from. Hopefully everybody came out of this with an idea or two that they can incorporate in their business to make them better. Thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful rest of your week.